right, Drunk Theology fans. This is the Rev C.H. Brown coming to you from Henderson,
Well, kind of, yeah.
Green Valley.
It's Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
We call it Vegas.
Yeah, and as you know, I've been on hiatus for the last 2 weeks and just been chilling with the family. And I'm here with my brother, an esteemed member of the family. And many of you know him very well from his music career, and his name is Jimmy Brown, right?
That's right.
So he has some great things to share with us this evening, but I want to go ahead and open up this conversation. Before we do that, please remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the little bell to remind you of anything that's, anytime we're coming up with new episodes, you'll be notified. And if you're watching this on Instagram, go to my bio, click my Linktree. It'll take you to every podcast platform that I'm on, and every video, platform that we're on. So please do that. Oh, and it'll also take you to my Patreon.
Yep.
And with the help of other knowledgeable people, I'm updating and improving the Patreon here in the next few weeks. So be looking for supporting some tiers and getting some special fringe benefits from Drunk Theology and myself. Yep. And I'm excited about that as well. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and start having a conversation with my brother here about what's been going on lately.
Yeah.
Just to kind of let you know, fill you in,
Yeah.
For the last almost 2 weeks, I decided to just check out of California. I had to get away. It's just gotten crazy there with all the masks and stuff. And one of the things that I do during the week, since there's open freeways, I've been taking drives, and usually when I take a drive, I'll go to this one gas station, pop in there, get me a soda or an iced tea and what have you. And they have the mask rule, but they've never harassed me, they've never bothered me, they never, talked to me. But lately here, they did say, sorry, you can't come in. And they've been so nice to me there, the owner and everything, but I think they're under surveillance.
Yeah, probably.
Because they've been very laxed about it. And so I bought me a couple of masks on Amazon. One says Emunah in Hebrew for faithful God, and then the Shema. So I have those on, but I have to be careful, when I put them on, because I have to remember it's left to right, and I don't want to run into a rabbi and I'm wearing it upside down and get a dirty look from him,
Yeah, it'll take you for anti-Semitic, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, I didn't watch any news the last 2 weeks. I've not watched any news. I've intentionally just unplugged, just didn't have any kind of input. Missed the DNC, and now I'm hearing things, and I kind of wish I had observed it, but so I want.
I hate saying it, but once you heard one speech, you kind of heard them all. But there were some charismatic moments.
Okay,
and it is what it is,
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get your take on the DNC. Start off a conversation with that, and what you think about what's happening with the election and how it's all tied together with.
Well, the first
pandemic and economic turndown and the whole bit.
Well, the first thing that everybody out there, obviously has to recognize, and if you don't, you have been pre-programmed and you don't even know it. This is not the DNC of the past. This is not JFK's DNC. This is not even Clinton's DNC. This is something far more sinister and far greater of a threat to the democracy of this nation. And people just don't get it. They really don't. And you say, I was on my podcast the other day, and the line that I used was the Beach Boys line, fun, fun, fun till daddy takes her her T-bird away. And that's kind of what it was like, in January, we passed, December, a new year now, 2020, and then it was fun until the DNC took the T-bird away. And that's what it's like now. I have this illustration because I just think it's so poignant and at the same time, like, beyond comical, because obviously, and these are from OSHA. These are actually from OSHA about breathing apparatuses that are absolutely necessary for your health, and so for smoke, this is the kind of mask that so if you're going into a smoke situation for painting, the dual they're not even N95, they're like even a more powerful particle type of thing, and we have painters in our family and stuff, and so I definitely know, I've seen those. Mining, same thing, they have to wear specific types of masks, pesticides. And then, of course, radioactive. I mean, they're just pretty much the gas masks. What we were seeing back in the old days. And now, again, these are all current. Even the gas mask that was invented in the 30s and the 40s is still being used today. That same design and same idea. And then the deadliest virus in the world or in history, and a piece of cloth is what we wear.
Yeah.
I mean, people, right there. Yes, it's comical. It's a hilarious presentation, and you could definitely see that the OSHA things were there in place, and then all of a sudden this mannequin head with a mask was placed in there. But it's the absolute truth. And if you can't see what's going on, if you can't see that there's something more sinister happening, something worse, then I don't know what can be done to wake you up, because that alone should wake you up into the fact that there is a lie. There is something going on. There is a lot more than the virus. And not to quote a certain somebody, but is it about the election, or is it about the virus? And I think it is about the election. And the reason I say that the DNC of the past is not the DNC now is not simply because of morons and Marxists and absolute total socialists, leftists like Bernie Sanders in his speech, which honestly he gave the best speech out of all of them because he actually stuck to politics. The rest of the speeches, as I told you, were all just rants and raves. 90% let's attack the orange man, and 10% Biden's a good guy. He's the guy for this, to lead us. And what's hilarious is you go on Biden's website, and his plan for the pandemic, because that's the thing, Obama, Michelle, AOC, you name it, or Hillary, Bill Clinton, all the other leftists that went on there, they all said the same thing. Oh, Biden's the man to lead us because, look what happened with H1N1. And, we didn't allow that to happen. That was under direction of Biden. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But, so you go to the Biden website and you look at how he would handle the pandemic, how he would drag us out of this horrific mess that Trump has put us in, because he is actually responsible for 170,000 people's deaths. So, okay, let's cut that out for a second, and how any one virus can be one man's fault, right there should be a problem. And the fact that train of thought and that ideology is constantly being like a mantra, it's being placed over and over and over and over and over. No matter what channel you flip, everybody's repeating the mantra. It's his fault. It's his fault. It's 170,000 deaths. 5 million infected, or 5 million cases, or whatever. And now I don't know what it's up to now, but again, I think it's 8 million. Well, okay, let's do some math. 8 million people, 330 plus million people. I mean, so now let's do that by percentile. 33 million is 10%. So cut that, and we got what, 15 and a half, 15.5 million, and that's
Yeah.
5%.
Mm-hmm.
So again, even at 8 million, I mean, it's still like way, way, way low of a
Right.
percentile.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
should there be any infections? No. And I'm even beginning to doubt that there is one. I'm beginning to question whether any of it is actually real, if they just didn't release another strain of a cold virus. And people are like, "Oh, how dare you say something like that?" I've received emails, how dare you insinuate that this might be a hoax? I know someone who actually died. And I said, "Well, who?" And then it's always a third party. It's never my friend died, or my this died, or my mom died, or of this. It's always well, I know someone.
Right.
First, so no one ever really has that one. And if you do, I'm sorry, but there's more to it. And I'm going to give you an example. And I might have said this on the last broadcast, and I'm sorry if I did. You can edit it out. But a good friend of ours, a real dear friend of ours, right in the beginning of all of this, in February, March area, and how the scare was happening and everything was happening, his father wasn't feeling well and had the flu. And but he'd already been telling the kids, basically prepared. It's like he knew in his spirit he wasn't going to see the rest of this year. And lo and behold, he just dropped right in their living room. Paramedics took him away. He was pronounced at the hospital dead. So that means he died on the way. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Within 12 hours, and this is in February, they called the house and told his wife, "Your husband died of COVID."
What?
We just got the test. February. And she's like, "Oh my gosh." And they said, "You need to get tested right away too." So my friend flies out to go be with his mother. She goes and gets tested. Now, within 12 hours of testing, and this is no disrespect, to testing a corpse, they had the answer. So Mrs. calls the next day. They don't have an answer. Calls the next day. Have an answer. Calls the next day. No answer. Next day. Still haven't got the test results back. Next day. 8 days pass.
Wow.
And then they finally say, "You came back positive. So you have to quarantine for 21 days. And anyone in the house has to quarantine for 21 days. And anybody who was around you for the last 8 days has to quarantine." And she had already been over the flu for several weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. She had no symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend, who was there, ended up stuck.
Yeah.
Out of state, there, quarantining. And it wasn't like stuck, like, he didn't want to be there. He was there to help his grieving mother and everything. But now it was under this quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is all at the very, very beginning, the onset of all of this. And I'm assuming you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just for privacy
Sure.
reasons, that's why I'm not saying his name. But I mean, he is somebody who's like family to us.
Mm-hmm.
And now he sent me the death certificate. He sent me a copy of it. And on it, right there, says COVID-19. Then you go to the lower left-hand bottom, and that's immediately my eye caught it. I wasn't even looking for it. It just went right to the lower left-hand column, and it said cause of death, and it was X check marked, natural causes.
Oh. Okay.
So, but COVID was topped in the priority line.
Yeah.
But when you actually go to the document,
Mm-hmm.
natural causes.
Yeah.
Because that was what they told him, actually, when they called and said and pronounced him dead
Uh-huh.
when he arrived at the hospital.
Yeah.
They said, Mrs. asked, what did he pass from? And they said heart failure.
Yeah.
He's an old man, he's older, he was up in there in years.
Yeah.
He had high triglycerides, he had, it was heart failure.
Yeah.
Then 12 hours later, he died of COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we already know we didn't have a test
Right.
that could deliver results that fast.
Yeah.
We already know that tests were scarce.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they were not wanting to do them on well people. Why would they do it on a corpse?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Right then, the antennas went up. And this was back then. The antennas went up and said, there's something not right here. There's something wrong. And if you do have someone that you do have close to you that you believe passed from it, I would say look very hard at the true cause, because most people that I've been talking to and that my wife's been talking to, because at work they make them test every 2-3 weeks, and some people come back positive, they have to leave for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they come back to work, and then when they say I had a cold.
Uh-huh. Well, it's a coronavirus.
Yeah, and that's what people say. It's and the big one, did you lose your loss of taste and smell? And I say to myself, and I've even told Ellen, I've had allergy attacks that bad where I lose my sense of taste and smell for 2-3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it always happens when I have a cold.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
And now we have the T cells thing that came out last week, right?
Yeah.
So, and Fauci, and then worser still, that disgusting man, Bill Gates, just did an interview yesterday saying he sees this over, all ending by November.
Wow.
Maybe December. But he says without any doubt in his mind, he sees it all ending. Okay. Non-medical doctor, by the way.
Right. He's not.
Non-medical anything. He's not even. I wouldn't let him put a Band-Aid on my ass. But yet he sits on the board of Moderna, one of the biggest big pharmaceutical industries, along with Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Yeah.
And there's some sources that have said those vaccines that they're sitting on, they've been sitting on them for years. So was it a plan? Everything points that way. Then you hear the sob stories. I was having lunch with my friend Robbie today. Hadn't seen him in a long time. And we were talking about the Rona. And he was just saying, I don't believe it's real. But then, then you watch the news and they show, tubes and ventilators and everything else, and you get scared.
Yeah.
And you don't know. And he's like, but everything else points to that it's not real. That this is a mistake. That this is something different. And he's not a Trumpster by any stretch. And he says, but dude, he goes, you and I have been, we've been on this earth for over 50 years now. And I said, yeah. He's like, I've never seen so much hate for one man by an entire population.
Right.
He goes, Castro was a real SOB.
Yeah.
And even the majority of his people loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, this guy maybe he's done nothing, maybe he's done something, but to have this much hate, it's not natural.
Yeah, there's something.
It's wrong. There's
Yeah,
something, there's a programming, and it's been systematic, and it's been from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because they never thought she'd lose.
No.
They never thought it was a shoo-in.
I mean, they were shocked and they were crying, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, broadcasters,
Yeah.
news broadcasters, were literally shocked
Yeah.
and crying, and
crying like when Walter Cronkite cried when JFK was shot in the
Yeah.
head. That's
Yeah.
the way they were crying, and it was stupid.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, and more importantly, it was hilarious because, they love showing it over and over and over. Obama looking directly in the camera and says, "Trump will never be president." And, and everybody takes that man's words as gold. I guess everybody that does take everything Obama says is gold, I don't know what country they were living in during that time, but I saw more divisiveness, I saw more dissension, I saw more problems with racism and everything during that time, an economic crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were living in not great times, so I don't know where people were. Or maybe I was living on Mars or something. I was transported to another planet because, or I was in an alternate universe because I don't remember what people see so great about those years. But again, I'm not here to slag him because, there's no perfect president. There is no perfect guy.
Yeah.
Reagan had his flaws. I think Reagan is one of the best, but Reagan had his flaws, and JFK had his flaws, and Truman had his flaws, and Roosevelt had his flaws, and going all the way back to Washington, or even good old Honest Abe. Mm-hmm. Everybody had their flaws. There's no perfect president, and anybody who wants the job is already, in my head, a nutcase anyway, because it's a crap job and it's a thankless job, and more importantly, not only being a thankless job, but the guy that's there right now is doing it for free.
Yeah,
That's what makes it makes it more insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he donates his pay because he has to be paid, and so he donates it to different charities.
Right, but that's never talked about.
Yeah.
The economic growth, for the last 3 years, nobody wants to talk about.
Right.
I watched a 10-minute video yesterday showing all the they call him King Racist, Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. I watched a speech from was it Jesse Jackson?
Oh, uh-huh.
And he said that. He said he's a Grand Wizard. And then it flip-flopped to a story of when he was in New York 15 years ago, and these two black guys really, really wanted to start a business there in New York, and every bank turned them down. Uh-huh. And they just reached out to Trump. They reached out to him, and he said, "You know what? I'll take a chance. I'll go ahead and do this. Here's the structure of the loan. It's a short-term loan. I expect payment plus interest. There you go." Well, those guys showed up right when it was due and had the check for the loan and the interest. And he said, "Did you make the business work?" And they said, "Yes." And he tore up the check.
Wow.
And he said, "Go run your business." He goes, "Congratulations. You guys are living the American dream. Go do your thing." Now, how is that racist? I don't understand. Everything that stupid idiot box tells you, or those morons like that Lemon guy on CNN, or that bald idiot on CNN, or the hotties on MSNBC, or whatever. I don't know half their names because they all make me sick to my stomach. And there's one guy especially that every time he asks Kaylee a question at those press conferences, if I could somehow get in that press room, I would choke him because I just can't stand the disrespect and the rudeness.
Exactly.
You know? And that has never happened. You didn't see that at Obama press conferences. You didn't see that at Bush press conferences.
Yeah.
You didn't see it at Clinton press conferences. This is the first time ever in history that people are rude and interrupting and where they say, okay, well, thank you very much, you have a good day, and they're screaming and yelling and I mean, I've never seen it. It's even the press is not acting like press. They're acting like a bunch of morons who smoked a big bowl before they got in there, or they're all microdosing on acid because that's what, you know, the in thing is to do now, and probably fasting, and that's why they're all out of their mind because they're going on these 7-day fasts or 9-day fasts, and while microdosing, by the way, and smoking a fat bowl, you know, or a big Bob Marley joint before they go and they ask all these asinine questions. My favorite question was the Goodyear situation because Trump says, screw Goodyear, go buy better tires for cheaper. So I thought it was funny. Now you could tell, obviously, he's a hothead, he's a jerk, you know, but it made sense. Why are they allowing at Goodyear? Why are they allowing the employees to wear BLM shirts but not MAGA shirts?
Yeah.
Okay. Now BLM. On their website, they said flat out, we are Marxists. We follow the manifesto. They don't hide. They're right out in the plain open. Okay,
they're transparent.
So, but it's political.
But
it's political.
Yeah,
Marxist is political. The manifesto is political. So, and they said, because we don't want political. That's why we won't allow MAGA shirts. So, and it's baloney.
Yeah.
So, in other words, we promote cop killing because that's what the BLM promotes, but we won't promote MAGA. That means Blue Lives Matter because they're synonymous, and that's what Trump's whole point was. So this guy asks the asinine question, so is Trump mandating, exact words, is he mandating Americans to boycott and not use Goodyear tires? Oh, it gets better. It gets better.
Oh, man.
Kaylee just says, absolutely not. The president was making a point, blah, 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 whatever. He's like, well, one more question. So because she answers and says, no, we're in, Blue Lives Matter, and that's what matters. So one more question. If police officers are right now driving on Goodyear tires, is the president suggesting that they, is that where journalism has come? To ask stupid, sarcastic, asinine questions that a 9-year-old would ask if you were telling them something to do. My gosh. I've heard better questions come from 5-year-olds. And this guy was from CNN. It wasn't like he was from some off-brand, off-weird, news cycle. He was, he's from CNN. And he's asking an asinine question like that. And, I got to give it to Kaylee. I don't know what they're paying her, but it's nowhere near enough.
Yeah.
She needs a triple raise because how she controls herself from not whipping out a double barrel shotgun and just, I couldn't do that job because I would be like, you know what? Tell them all I know where all of you live and your families. And I've got drone control. So, I couldn't do the job. Just like if I was Trump, I would have already blown up the country, or I would have just left. I would just bail and say, you guys can all go straight to hell. I don't care. I'm buying an island somewhere. I'm getting away from it all. Because honestly, the hate part is the part I don't understand. Mm-hmm. Because it just doesn't make sense how much hate. But it does make sense when you turn on the tube. Because that's all the DNC was. Remember I was telling you, it was just all about hate, 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 hate. And then Biden's final address of, we are in dark times. We're in times of darkness, and we need the light. That was his whole thing.
Wow.
So Trump, darkness.
Was he lucid?
apparently. I mean, they had, it was late at night. He jumped when the fireworks started going off, so he must have had a little too much coffee. I don't know. Jill looked great. Kamala and her husband kind of looked like afterthoughts.
Wow.
It's very strange.
Wow.
I mean, Cali, right?
Yeah.
She's from
California.
but NoCal, right?
Northern California, and well hated. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, what she got about 3% of the vote in Cali? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm telling you, there's, just the whole idea. I think that I've heard too many people predict it, and you and I were talking about it earlier. I think the reality is that Biden's going to be out of the race by September. I think he's going to be replaced, or something's going to happen.
mm-hmm.
Don't know exactly what's going to happen. I have suspicions, I have ideas, I have notions, but he's definitely not going to be in, because the reality is I didn't get to this point, and I always do circle around back to my point. So they talk about how he is going to fix the pandemic.
Yeah.
And you go to his website and he says, I'm going to do testing.
Whoa.
Oh, didn't think of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to increase PPE for our frontline staff. Wow. Okay. And make sure we don't run out of ventilators. I mean, it's all on his website.
That's crazy.
Okay. That's his big plan. And that's where Trump failed.
Uh-huh.
That's where this administration absolutely failed. And that's what they keep pushing. He failed the American public. He failed. He failed. He failed. That was the message over and over and over, and that's what was being pushed.
Yeah.
So I love it. Last day of the DNC, all of a sudden there's these big, giant video trucks parked out front of the DNC. And I don't know if you saw it, but it was great.
I never.
That's right. You weren't watching.
Yeah.
Oh, but it was fantastic. Whoever paid for it, God bless them. I love them. But they were just all giant, like rigs.
Yeah.
Big rigs.
Yeah.
But the trailers were like giant video screens, and it was all like Joe Biden sniffing little kids' hair and kissing all these ladies. I mean, that's all, every one of them. There was a whole line of them. It was great. It was just all the creepy Joe. That's what it said: creepy Joe Biden, creepy Joe Biden. And it was like, oh, this is fantastic. This is great. And I feel I sometimes wonder if Jill allowed him to run so he could be humiliated, because how she's been humiliated by all his hair sniffing and everything else. Because she seems like a perfectly lovely woman whenever I see her interviewed.
Yeah.
The compelling speeches were by Michelle and Barack. I will say they were very compelling, completely. I mean, and I don't mean like partially. I mean completely laced with lies, but very well given speeches, incredibly well done, very well produced.
That was Michael and Barack Obama?
Yeah. So they were both doing their thing.
Yeah.
And I was impressed. I don't know about the Michael thing, because I was looking real hard for that Adam's apple. and they say you surgically cannot remove it. It cannot be removed. So I was looking real hard. But she has gained some weight too. So
I heard she was really built, had some like traps.
Oh, she's huge. She's huge, got huge hands, the whole shebang. But I've met women who have huge hands and everything else. So I mean,
that's true.
So I mean,
I know some, and I'll out of respect won't say their names.
Yeah. And but I mean, I don't know. I mean, even if such were the case, it would answer a lot of questions as to the concentration of their campaigns and what they worked on, obviously, for the rights and whatnot. And not that I stand against any of that that particular thing, but we've become, the DNC right now is so into identity politics, and the identity politics is what I think in the end is going to destroy them, because should Trump choose to take the high road and not do a lot of mudslinging, I don't think that's possible, but if he chooses
Right.
to just concentrate on all the good work that has been done and what he wants to do for the next 4 years, it's going to be a huge contrast to what they did, because this showboating they did, and you know, I mean, even this was a Democrat senator who actually said it. It was a 3-day long or a 4-day long bad infomercial.
Yeah.
That's scathing
Mm-hmm.
for a one of their own party to actually say it was that bad. It was horrible. It was a real just, like I said, a few highlights. Bill, I used to love listening to Bill give, Clinton give speeches.
Yeah.
Because he just has that car salesman vibe, and I like
Yeah.
listening to car salesmen. They're funny, But even his speech was just awful. They gave him a few minutes, like 7 minutes or 8 minutes. Hillary got even less, and her speech was terrible. Just absolute sore loser. To this day, you can see it. She's angry. She is pissed, and I was telling you earlier, she can't even run for mayor of Little Rock. They would. I don't think they'd let her be president of the Brownies. I mean, she is such a hated broad, and well deserved, because that lady's just absolutely loony. And it takes one to know one, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay
Well.
with being called loony, so so I can rightfully call her one.
Yeah, exactly, right? Same here. No, this it's amazing. Now, I did hear. I think Matt showed me. I don't know if it was a Twitter thing, but it was a review of people that were tuning in live to the DNC and just making comments,
Mm-hmm.
and someone who said, "We're gonna lose, aren't we?"
Oh, I bet. I bet. Yeah.
Because just based on the production.
Oh, the production values were
Yeah.
so bad. Like Jill Biden at the school, they cut to it, and now Jill Biden, and she's just standing there, just like this, and then, am I supposed to walk? Oh. Hi, I'm Jill Biden. And, I mean, terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, did you guys let, like, the elementary school or the audiovisual team, we really want to be filmmakers one day, you allowed them to do the whole thing? I mean,
and you would think with all their Hollywood connections that they could come up with some top-notch producers.
You'd think it was just really, really bad. And not only them, I mean, it was just all of them. The best ones, honestly, were shot well, were the Clintons and the Obamas. They were shot professionally, cut to different scenes, or different angles, and they were shot really well.
Yeah. What were they pre-recorded or?
Oh, completely.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they were shot really,
And
really well. But all the live stuff was, oh my God, it was laughable. It was like, not cued, not taken care of. And so if somebody commented, "We're going to lose, aren't we?" They're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Just based, and like I said, more than anything, just all the hate. And then they showed themselves, because here they are pushing the country is divided right now. The country is divided. Yeah, AOC and I forget the other crazy broad, but there's all these crazies that all were voting and casting their vote for Bernie Sanders.
Or Pocahontas.
Yeah, Pocahontas casting her vote for Bernie Sanders. Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, you guys are divided in your own party.
Yeah.
Because I thought Sanders endorsed
right. Yeah, which brings
Biden.
What I was thinking about, what triggered a thought earlier, what you said, was that, if Sleepy Joe goes out here in September, I wonder if there's a rule that the next nominee takes their place,
and
which would be Sanders, because he was officially nominated and
yes.
seconded.
Yes.
So I wonder if they have a rule like that.
Well,
and that was the way they're going to get him in.
Well, if so, if so is stipulated, then that's what's going to be. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And at that point, it'll be at least clear as day. You know, I get in arguments all the time with different people because people that are just so anti Biden can't speak any good of the man. And I always try to look for the good and the bad in everybody. And there's a part of me that genuinely feels bad for Biden. I mean, I genuinely feel bad for the man because he's being used.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's being used. If the senility is not an act, boy, he is an amazing actor. He is amazing at the act.
Yeah.
But if it's true senility or Alzheimer's or whatever that's happening, shame on these people to take advantage of that and make him run.
Right.
Unless they need the patsy. I think that's why they chose him. I think they knew his mind was slipping or that he was going something maybe, and that's like he's the perfect guy because if he is going to make way for Sanders to get in there, because Sanders wouldn't get the vote otherwise.
Right.
Okay, and why? That's the real question. Why wouldn't he get the vote? Well, because he is an outright Marxist.
Mm-hmm.
He is. I mean, he at least the thing I love about him,
mm-hmm.
and about his speech, he is no holds barred, tells you like it is. Socialism.
Yeah.
He says it's the absolute answer. It's what's going. His exact words. It's what's going to save America. Man, I mean, and he believes it.
Yeah.
So at least he's passionate about it, I give him that.
Yeah, I disagree with him, but
completely.
But
I appreciate that he believes it,
and the fact that he's honest about it and open about it.
Yes, he's not hiding it.
Yeah, trying to be some moderate.
Yeah. Well, there's a guy I like listening to online. His name is Dave from X22. He is absolutely positively convinced. I mean, like most people that have been following all this, we all know Biden's out. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen. I really genuinely believe that. He's going to be out one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's something, but he's going to be out.
Yeah.
Because number one, whether he's been in politics for half a century or not and knows how to debate, in his current state and out of practice as he is, Trump's going to shred him alive on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an ugly sight, and it will not be pretty. And they can't let it happen.
Yeah.
They just can't. And but Dave from X22 really, really believes with all his heart, even though she stated several times, several interviews, and even during this speech, Michelle Obama said, "I hate politics. I hate politics." She keeps saying it over and over and over. I've read, I don't know how many interviews with her over the past 6 months, and then even said it during her speech at the DNC. But he believes it's going to be her. Because he says that's the premise, is I hate politics, but I care about this country so much that I'm stepping in.
Yeah.
And he believes that genuinely. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if he's right.
Mm-hmm.
If his prophecy of doom is going to be it, because I do fear, with the state of how messed up the thinking of this country is right now, it would be a scary race if she were to run.
Yeah.
Because of the popular vote.
Yeah.
I think Hillary's popular vote was way overinflated. I think it was a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
Because I never met anybody who liked her.
Uh-huh.
I never met people I met people that were saying, I want a woman president, but not her.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
so I don't believe she ever had a chance.
Yeah.
Genuinely. Michelle, yeah, I think that's a different story. And at that point,
Yeah, because it would be people voting out of white guilt again.
Yep, no, exactly.
And
Exactly.
then add to it people who want to see a woman president.
Yep.
To make history.
Yep.
All of that.
Yeah, it'd be.
And-
I mean,
and-
there's a lot of reasons
Yeah.
to it,
Mm-hmm.
but then what everybody's forgetting is that her and her husband are socialists.
Yeah.
And socialist minded.
Yeah.
So it would come in with an absolute fierce vengeance this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we got before was socialism light under Obama.
Yeah.
It was beyond light. It was piffle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this one, I think, would be the full-fledged force.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see. But it could be Sanders, or it could be the other theory that I told you earlier.
Oh yeah. Did they never get a count?
They never get a count, and then January comes, and there's no count, and it's inaugural time, and then the Speaker of the House gets the position.
Yeah.
By default, because that's in our Constitution.
Right.
And then good old crazy Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Boy, and God help us. I mean, man, that lady is crazy.
She's crazy, or she's also got some kind of dementia.
No, she's just
right.
I think she's just crazy. I think she just is. She just is a like great grandmother crazy now. But I've watched speeches of her like 20, 30 years ago, and she was just as crazy then.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just.
Well, as my friend would say, she's batshit crazy.
Yeah, batshit crazy.
Yeah.
But but like I said, it's just funny now because, like I said, I don't even have to. I turn away just to listen to the audio of her speaking, and she sounds like a lady at an old age home telling you a story. That's what she sounds like. I mean, she just sounds like a little old lady, and it's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you what our buddy said about her later. I can't say it on camera, but anyways, so really not much has changed. I mean things have changed and things haven't. I mean, Vegas is, we're on the mask mandate. I'm not gonna lie. There are times I'll walk in without a mask and say it's medical reasons, and it's none of your business what it is, because that's my right. That's my medical right. And then they leave me be.
Yeah.
Others will make a stink.
Yeah.
So, for the most part, I'll wear them. I put it on. I do my thing. I go. It depends on the mood I'm in. If I'm in the mood to pick a fight, then I'll just go in without it. But for the most part, I try to just hurry and get in and get out, and I don't like talking to people anyway. Yeah. So,
I just generally I do the pickup thing. If I need something, I call ahead and wait outside and say I'm here and have them throw it in the car. Because I just don't want to comply. Like I said, I did it for those that people at the gas station just because they've been so nice to me through all this.
Yeah.
But I could see that they were stressed that day, and I'm like, okay, something is up here, and
well, remember I was telling you that in that idea of the design that we're living in an architecture of a designed world, or remember what I said, like an alternate dimension, or living out the Matrix, or a video game, or whatever. You know? The algorithm. Remember, I was telling you what David Icke said.
Yeah.
To change the algorithm is we have to start saying no. We have to stop complying, because that's what's going to change the algorithm and take the power away from them.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing right now is absolutely unconstitutional, and nobody is seeing it.
Yeah.
But it's because it's fear-driven. That's why nobody's seeing it.
Yeah,
because it's fear-driven.
Yeah, because I know I was talking with Matt. I said, hey, there have been times where like I'll have maybe a bout of hay fever like one day because there's just a lot of pollen in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But But my first immediate thought is like, I wonder if this is it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I thinking that? It's because I'm watching too much news.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
Yep.
And it's like, no, it's just a hay fever. Take your allergy medicine and move on.
yeah.
And that's what it is. But you get that fear.
Oh yeah.
And then there are people who don't have enough,
Common sense.
common sense to just say, hey, turn this off, and they're just soaking it all in and believing that we have people ratting out each other, calling
I know.
calling police on they're not wearing masks. It's like, what in the world? And this is going on like in Long Beach. It's insane.
Yeah, it's going on here too.
You
There's,
know?
I've heard of neighbors calling on other neighbors. That I hear them coughing. I hear them this, and I mean, it's like, really? Oh my gosh! I mean, and it's there's that world meter. I don't know if you've seen that website, but it just counts on everything that's going on.
Okay.
And one of the unfortunate topics, but it's part of life, is death, and all the deaths that are happening, and how they gauge. We're losing X amount of lives by this, and and I mean, and it breaks it all down. This is by cancer, by this, by that, by that, by this, and I think it's called the worldometer.com or something like that. But every year, and it's got yearly histories too. So you can go back and see what the history was of deaths last year and the year before, or even 100 years. Well, the thing about it is this year, COVID has cured cancer and heart attacks and strokes and lung cancer, and because there are fewer of any of those deaths, and because the numbers themselves haven't really changed.
Yeah, the actual number of deaths
It's just that the reason for the death is what's changed.
Yeah.
So, in other words, if we average about 575,000 deaths per year in the United States, and the breakdown for illness is around 180 to 200,000, we're right on track right now.
Yeah.
It's just now, instead of all those other ones I'd mentioned, those are all down and COVID is leading.
Yeah.
So, and we already know.
And we know that the COVID reports are not accurate.
No, and you have the frontline doctors. I mean, look at Dr. Simone Gold.
Mm-hmm.
She comes out. All those other doctors that came out, they fortunately own their own practices, so they're still working. But like Simone was working for an urgent care or a hospital, and she got fired because she came out against all this. So now again, they had a different thing. They see it as real, but they see it as the cure is the HCQ and zinc and all this other stuff. Where others are saying, I mean, put it this way, the key for any psyop, the key is misinformation.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep everybody guessing like some stupid parlor game. Like everybody playing Clue. Everybody has to guess who it was. And because the more we sit around with the misinformation and the guessing games and all this other stuff, nobody is asking the most fundamental question. Why?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, and somehow, and then that jackass Cuomo calling it the European virus. I don't know if you saw that. Oh my God. That jackass went on and now, but he did say something very profound. And I shared that with you earlier.
Yeah.
That, he was talking about this, about COVID, and he's like, but for the most part, now, COVID is really just a metaphor. That was the most telling statement I've heard to come from anybody. And I don't know if it was a mistake. I don't know if it was a sin of omission. I don't know what it was, but
yeah,
it was telling.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what it is. There's all this misinformation, and everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Whether it's buying toilet paper like in the beginning, and buying, and now, I mean, I use alcohol all the time, and I can't find it to save my life. and it's ridiculous. Now barely Costco is finally getting bleach, and I mean, I was having to pay top dollar to have it delivered here. I mean, and then obviously Amazon. What did they tripled their normal quarter?
Their sales.
Yeah, their sales. They, I mean, tripled it.
Tripled, yeah.
And then Apple finally became a multi-trillion-dollar company.
Yep.
And the reason being is because everybody's bored, everybody's at home, everybody's locked up. So they want a new toy. They go on Apple.com, they apply for the card, they get approved, and they buy a new computer or a new set of iPods or a new set of, this or that, whatever.
Right.
A new iPad, and now they hit $2 trillion they're worth now.
Right.
So, I mean, think about that. In 6 months, during a pandemic. But the best part about it is, so they have that as success report. Amazon has that success report. Walmart has a success report. Other big conglomerates have all these success reports, but yet it's the worst economic point in history for mankind, according to the Dems.
Yeah, exactly. I heard this one guy on Rush's show on my way up here, and he was saying that at the beginning of the pandemic, his 401k was at the highest it has ever been, and then 30 days after the lockdown, he was down 24 points. I mean, he had just taken a big hit, 24%.
Yeah,
and
that's a huge hit.
Yeah. Now, and this was like I said, so it was 2 weeks ago. He says now he says I have recovered 99.2% of that 24%. He says, how come no one's talking about this on the news?
Yeah, exactly.
The economy is already around, and we're still shut down. Yeah. What's going to happen when we actually open up?
Exactly.
It's going to skyrocket.
Well, the S&P 500 has hit the highest it's ever hit in history.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dow Jones, same thing. I mean, they're rapidly approaching historical highs.
Yeah.
And for them to actually go on and say the things that they did, that's why, like I said, it was just a big 4-day lying festival to see who could tell the better lie, but unfortunately, they're all reading from the same script, just like all the news networks all read from the same script, and please don't think I'm like a big supporter of Fox, because they have their issues too. The only good thing that I like is that they have Gutfeld and Jesse and Dana and they can and Juan, because I actually like Juan a lot. He's a turd at times, but I like him. And I also like that lady, the one black lady with the white hair that's always angry.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name right now, but oh my God, I absolutely love her.
Yeah.
Because she's just, even though she's so serious and everything else, you could tell she's there to argue points.
Yeah.
And to speak reality. Where Juan turns into a big turd is when he just takes the opposition point just to take it.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't really believe it.
No, you can see he has no conviction.
He's just the devil's advocate there.
He's just being a jerk, and you can see it when he's laughing, because I mean, it's funny. I don't know, but they're all reading from the same script, man. Yeah.
Well, it's time to get going here. So
was this? We got a half hour in or an hour?
We got almost an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, literally a minute and a half.
Well, I mean, then let's leave it off with this. I'm pretty actually excited to see what the RNC is going to bring this coming time. When does it start, this week or next week?
I'm not certain. I think next week. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to see what they're going to bring. What their strategy is, what the game is. I know Kellyanne Conway and some other people have mentioned their advice as to what they'd like to see it be. But certainly I would like to see the mudslinging not be so prominent.
Right.
Unfortunately, our president is incredibly tweet happy, and he wears his feelings on his sleeves, and he gets angry a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same token, what I love about him is that he's sarcastic and he's jerky.
Yeah.
And those quips are actually, some of them are rather funny, just like the Goodyear thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that was funny when I saw that. You know, it was like, go buy your tires somewhere else. You can get them cheaper and better.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's something normal people would say anyway.
I think that's part of the charm of Trump, or maybe the genius of Trump. Is he does talk like a normal guy.
He just talks like any one of us,
Mm-hmm.
and he just has that, whatever.
Yeah.
I know I'm not part of his club. I'll never be a part of his club. I'm not a billionaire, but at the very least, he seems to. I'm excited to see what's going to happen and who's speaking, and could care less about who's singing and all that other crap and what celebrities. I hope there's no celebrities, because celebrity endorsements, I mean, in fact, they make me hate products. In fact, I sometimes won't buy a product just because a celebrity endorsed it. So
Yeah, I get it. I know what you mean. Like, there's certain guitars I won't buy
yeah, absolutely.
just because of that.
Yep.
So anyway. All right. Well, hey, thank you for this interview.
Oh yeah, anytime. I love it. I love being on this.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, and really, it's not even so much an interview as much as listening to the great mind of my brother. I love listening to him. So, you guys take care.
We should do a music episode one day, though.
Yeah.
I know it's Drunk Theology, but music is spiritual, so we can do that one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Do not forget to go to the Patreon page, and do not forget to hit the like button. Smash that like button right now.
Yeah.
Because we want to get this algorithms on Google to work.
Yeah. Oh, and what's your podcast?
My YouTube?
Yeah, your YouTube.
Oh,
yeah.
just Jimmy P. Brown the
Okay.
second. Yeah, just go to YouTube, Jimmy P. Brown the second. And you can go to my website, jpbii.com, and my Patreon is patreon.com/jpbii.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys, take care. Be safe. Shalom.
Oh, it was cool.
Yeah.
That was fun.